Let's start with class number one. We are doing the value proposition portion of this webinar series. And the goal here is that we want you to stand out. We want you to quantifiably and tangibly prove to yourself, to your clients, to your business partners, and to your team that you're the most valuable mortgage professional in your market, in your state, in the country. And with that, then you just get to go act like it. I think that's the standard dilemma. That's the massive problem we see in the industry today, is that if you lined yourself up with the top 100 mortgage professionals in your market, let's just say you're in Sacramento, you picked the top 100 mortgage professionals and you rank them by value, not by production, because look, there's a very big difference between production and performance. Production is how many loans you close. There's a lot of people that close a lot of loans that don't perform at a high level. They're not that valuable. They're not that different. So where would you rank yourself on those 1 to 100? Right? Would you stand in the front of the line and say, yeah, I'm the most valuable mortgage professional? And would you really believe it? Or would you look at others and be like, oh, they're actually more valuable. They're doing this, they're doing that. And I feel like they're winning more deals and they have more realtor partners working with them. Again, the biggest problem I see in our industry is that most people would not rank themselves as number one. When you're spending time this weekend in reflection and kind of thinking about your potential, ask yourself, where would you genuinely rate yourself? And if the answer is not number one, this is going to help. Now, if the answer is number one, which by the way, there are a lot of people who say, I do believe I'm the most valuable, but then they realize they're just not showing up like it. In their heart, they think I really am a valuable mortgage professional. Like I provide a ton of value for my clients and my business partners and my team. But for some reason, it's just not clicking. It's not working. And my answer to that oftentimes is you're just not showing up that way. You're not jumping out of bed with the energy of the most valuable player. You don't step on the court when you start your business and you start about your day. You don't do that in a way that creates an energy that pulls everything to you, because that's what the most valuable mortgage professional does. They have a level of confidence and pride and a little bit of ego, right? A healthy level that is attractive, that brings business to them. It brings business partners to them. It brings opportunities to them because you have that level of energy. And that's what we want to try and help you all with. Now, some of you may have seen this slide before, but this is 5 of the exact same shoe, but at 5 different websites. And I always ask the audience when I give this presentation, which shoe are you buying? Right. And everybody always says, obviously a lot of times it's realtors and lenders, so they may kid themselves. But if I showed this to any regular human being, they'd buy the $59 one. They'd go to StockX, buy the shoe all day long. And then I say, well, what if the $90 shoe had better customer service? And they're like, I'm not paying twice as much for customer service. If I get the shoe, I get the shoe. If I have to wait 2 more weeks to get the shoe, I'm still paying $59. But we are kidding ourselves when we think that our clients or our business partners or our team or the people that we're trying to work with, if we don't think that they're looking at us this way. Like the consumer sees a mortgage as a mortgage. So what do we do about it? How do we get them to understand that what we are offering, what we are committing to them, is different than the other lenders that they're going to talk to, the cheaper versions of us that are inevitably out there? So what we do is we break this down into 3 aspects. And this will help you with your business partners. It'll help you if you're a leader and you're trying to help other teammates. It will help you in every aspect of your business. But you have to break it down to 3 parts, which is our value to a homeowner or a prospective homeowner is broken into before the transaction ever starts, during the transaction, and then after the transaction, right? Post-closing. Now, the before is about 30% of the value to the client, right? The during is only about 10%, but unfortunately that's what realtors and lenders focus on, is the during part. But it's only about 10% of our value because anybody could do it. The after part of what we do is 60% of the value that we offer to our clients. I'm going to walk you through those, and this will resonate through every aspect of your business. So don't just think about this as the client conversation. This is going to be with anybody you talk to. I was literally on a call this morning with a board of people from a company that don't know anything about mortgages. They were inquiring about working with our group. And this company said, well, how do you guys get your margins? Because our margins are amongst the highest in the industry. How do you get so many clients to say yes to you? And we started telling them about our before, during, and after strategy. And you could just see their mind being blown. They're like, wow, how come nobody else does that? And so this is in every aspect of your business. But let's just go through it as if you were talking to a prospective client. So somebody says, why you? We'll say, let me break it down. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you're thinking of buying a home. You're shopping for different lenders. Your realtor referred you to me. Let me tell you what we do before, during, and after. Before is about 30% of our value to you. And Some of the stuff we do is we do a lot of strategic planning and analysis. So this is helping you not just understand if you can buy a home, right, but most importantly, helping you realize if you should, when you should, how we approach it, how we write offers, how we protect your money, how we make sure that you have a certain level of liquidity post closing, how we're going to de-risk your offer for the homeowner. All the things that we're going to talk about in planning and analysis are going to help you in a very drastic way. Okay, that's something that no one else has told them before. Everyone else is just take application, go over information, and go. And team, look, some of you may know this. We recently partnered with Better Mortgage for a lot of reasons. I won't get into it, but they struggle mightily, right? They create 30,000 purchase leads a month and they don't close very many of them. And it's because they are offering the same thing as everyone else. The client fills out an app, they offer them a decently low rate. It's online, it's fast, it's easy. But there's a reason why 85% of those people close with a local lender at a higher rate. It's because some level of value of the before is different. All right, we're just going to take that to a whole new level. And strategic planning and analysis is a massive part of it. Next is performing like a cash buyer. You have to tell your clients that when they work with you, they're going to have a competitive advantage. And ask, say, Mr. Smith, put yourself in the shoes of a homeowner who's selling their property. If you have 10 offers and 9 of them have 30-day closings, they have loan contingencies, they have appraisal contingencies, they have all these things. And then here comes an offer. It might be a little lower than the other ones, but it can close in 15 days. No appraisal contingency, no loan contingency. All you need is an inspection and you're ready to close. And you can even waive the inspection if you're confident enough. Whose offer are you going to choose? Right? Are you going to go for the extra 10, 20, $30,000 in purchase price? Or are you going to go for the one that's a sure thing, right? And that allows you to get into your new home faster. And they go, oh yeah, I'm gonna go with the sure thing. We're going to make you look like the sure thing. That's why cash offers win. So explain to your client how you do that. You underwrite them in advance, you help them remove contingencies, you protect them in certain ways. So that will be a massive value proposition differentiator. Again, selling a product that is different than your competitors. Now, we used to track this. I would highly encourage you guys to track this, which is, our offer acceptance rate was 72%, right? So 72% of the time when our clients wrote an offer, it got accepted. 28% of the time it didn't. And on average, during that time frame where we were tracking this, there was 6 offers on average on each home. So we actually had a flyer that said, hey, average offer acceptance rate, 16%. Ours, 72%. Why? Because we make you look like cash, because we are highly visible. A lot of listing agents know us in the market, because we have an offer acceptance strategy portion when we write an offer where we sit down with you and the realtor and we figure out how to write that offer, because we reach out to the listing agent on your behalf, letting them know why your offer is so strong. The last thing you want to do, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, is write an offer on a property and then not get it accepted. Tell your kids they can pick out the room and then you don't get that house. If that happens 2 or 3 times, you're just going to rent again, because the emotional roller coaster is too terrifying to continue to stay on. And so this is one of the reasons why somebody would choose you versus someone else. And again, say, look, somebody will be cheaper. We have that conversation with all of our clients in the before. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, there will be cheaper mortgage options, I promise you. But unfortunately, those cheaper options typically don't even ever get an offer accepted. And if they do, it's at a much higher price, which we would have been eaten up by the small monthly savings, or it's going to be at a disadvantage offer kind of setting, right? So clients will understand that, but you have to take the time to break it down for them. Next is going to be saving money on the price of the home. Because again, if I don't have to beat the cash offer or the other offers, then I can have a lower price on the home and then just quantify that. Look, if I can on average save my clients $20,000 on the price of their home, but there's a cheaper option to me that is $50 a month, do the math. In 10 years, right, you're talking about close to a break even, but that's 10 years, right? In the first few years alone, you can show them the math means that the more valuable mortgage is yours because you can discount the price of the home. Next is saving money on closing costs. What we're doing right now, a lot of is attorney opinion letters in lieu of title insurance. So our clients don't have to get lenders title insurance policies. They don't need to get owners title insurance policies, which saves them thousands of dollars there. We get appraisal waivers oftentimes, so they don't have to spend money on an appraisal. Just whatever you're doing that will save them money on closing costs. If you've created discounts in your settlement services, show them that advantage, because that's going to be a massive difference. If you're $50 a month, but you're $3,000 cheaper just on your ancillary services, or you're driving down costs because of your efficiencies and your upfront fees don't need to be as much. because you're using technology and scale, right? Make that a point that people should know. Next is can, should, must analysis. This is one that we talk to our clients about all the time. Oftentimes they'll come to us pre-approved because we've taught our agents, hey, send every person to us. I don't care if they're pre-approved, if they're not ready, if they're not interested, just send everyone. And so the conversation we're having with the people who are pre-approved is, look, you can buy a home because you have a piece of paper that told you, literally, you can go online on our website right now and you can get pre-approved in 3 minutes, right? And you have a piece of paper that tells you what you can do. But do you actually know if you should do this? Right? Has someone taken the time to go through your personal economics in relation to your local housing market and told you if this is a really, really great idea now? Almost everyone's going to say no, right? And then take it a step further and say, okay, well, this may sound strange, but do you actually know if you must buy a home? And everyone's going to say the same thing. What do you mean by that? There's a lot of clients that if they don't buy a house today, they likely won't ever. And I'll show you why. I can explain that to you. I can show you what's happening in the housing market. I can show you the lack of inventory. I can show you the overwhelming buyer demand. I can show you what happens if interest rates drop. And I can show you what's going to happen to home prices. And if you miss this window where you can buy a home and should buy a home, you might never. And I have a story that I share, and you guys may want to create your own stories there. A family that didn't buy a house in 2015 in Orange County called me in 2021. They had to move out of the state. They couldn't afford to even rent in Orange County anymore. So they had to move to Arizona, and then they were thinking of buying a house. Like, it was my fault that they didn't buy a home. I should have told them, guys, you must buy a home right now, because if you don't, it's going to get harder and harder and harder. And then you might not even be able to rent where you want to live. And that would be my fault. So those types of conversations with people are going to be incredibly helpful. Next is keeping more money in your accounts. Have people talk to you about post-closing liquidity and how to really understand retirement planning, emergency savings, generational wealth with parents and children, future expenses that you may need to account for, schooling. A lot of times people put too much money into these things when they don't necessarily need to. Has anyone done that analysis with you? No, we just thought 20% down would be good. Okay, well, that's part of our strategic planning and analysis. So when I say we help people before, this is how we do it. And this is only 30% of our overall value. But this is something that you need to really be able to articulate well to your clients, your business partners, your financial planners, estate planning attorneys, so on and so forth. All right, next is during. Again, almost anyone can do everything I'm going to talk about. Very few people do, but that's how, unfortunately, we are all effectively judged on the during part. How good's your customer service? Do you close on time? Do you do what you say you're going to do? Is it frustrating experience? Do you have last minute conditions? We're all competing in that space. So let's not just give it that much attention. Let's just assume we're all doing what we need to be doing to create a transformational client experience. But here's some of the things that you do need to do. One is a contract meeting. We have this meeting within 24 hours of an offer getting accepted. So we would say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you're going to write this offer today. I'm going to call the listing agent. I'm going to do everything I can to get that offer accepted. But we need to be meeting within 24 hours to do your contract meeting. And in this meeting, we're going to protect your earnest money deposit. We're going to make sure that your interest rate is protected. We're going to go over a lock versus float strategy. We're going to make sure that this still is in line with down payment, with post-closing liquidity, with our short-term and long-term goals. We're going to figure out if the home needs work or not. So this is going to be an incredibly important meeting that we don't want to miss. Again, we do a whole training on the contract meeting, but this is likely the most important meeting that you will have as a mortgage professional, because that's the one time in a client's journey where they're the most afraid. There's the most anxiety. There's the most uncertainty, because they just likely paid more for a home than they wanted. The rate is definitely higher than they anticipated because they keep thinking about the rates in 2, 3s, and 4s. Their payment is higher than they want it to be. Their out of pocket is higher than they want it to be. Their insurance is higher. The taxes are higher. So they only have one lever to pull. And that one lever is the mortgage rate. So whenever I hear people say, God, I keep losing clients, it's pretty rare they lose them in the pre-approval phase. They lose them right at contract, because that's when the client gets scared. That's when the client is actively shopping because they want to get the best rate. All that can stop because this contract meeting will help them feel more secure, right? It will answer a lot of their questions. It will take away the fear and anxiety. It will replace it with Ryan and his team have this under control. Like, they're monitoring the rate. And he told me it doesn't even matter where the rate is today because they're going to float it throughout the process. And if I locked it today with somebody else, I still might get a worse rate than what they could get me. So if you can make sure that your client is hyper confident in the way that you're overseeing this transaction, and most importantly, in what you've done to get them to that place, and then even more importantly, what you're going to do for the next 30 years, all that comes in play in this contract meeting. So you will lose infinitely less clients by doing that contract meeting well. And it sets everything off on a great path, and it creates much less in-process challenges. Next is you want to make sure they're experiencing the joy of becoming a homeowner. So the gifting process, the way that you elevate emotional points in the transaction, the way that you communicate at a high level, the competence that you provide throughout the process. And you do this through proactive communication standards. If you're reaching out to the client, or your team is reaching out to the client every 48 hours, they're never wondering. They're never nervous. They're never scared. They're never left wondering, is this really going to happen? Is my loan going to get approved? Because you're always proactive and you keep them confident at a high level, which all leads back to they get to be joyful as opposed to stress. The gifting processes we talked about, part of the joy, the smooth closing, the client testimonial. This is where you're not asking for the testimonial. What you're doing is at the contract meeting, you're basically saying, hey, if you haven't already, please go in and look at all of my reviews. And I'm not saying this because I want to brag. I'm saying this because we want you to have that type of experience or better. And my commitment to you is that you're going to have such an incredible experience that my goal is that when we're done, you give us the best testimonial that we've ever had. Right. So that's what I want this outcome to be. You making that type of commitment to somebody right when they go into contract is incredibly helpful. And then they go look at your reviews and, oh yeah, like this is definitely the right person to work with. Right. But keep in mind, this is only 10% of your overall value. Why? Because anyone can say this. Anyone can do this. You don't have to have a ton of financial literacy. You don't have to have a great team. You don't have to have great technology. Almost anybody can make this happen. Now, keep in mind, very few people do. So the people that do this well are obviously going to stand out, but you can't expect a client to choose you because of these things. They should choose you because of the before and the after, because everyone's going to say this, right? They're only going to find out after if it's really true or not. So when you're presenting your value to someone, be very cautious about making it a during the transaction value pitch, because again, everybody's going to be in that phase. So let's get into the most important part of this, which is the after. This is the difference between helping someone just own a home and being a successful homeowner. What you commit to them up front, right, and how you engage and execute on that commitment for the next 30 years is all the difference in the world. Right? And this is a saying that you will want to tell people. You want to write this one down. Wealthy people are not wealthy because they have money. They're wealthy because they have information. And you and your team, along with the real estate professional, right, and anybody else in your sphere that you're going to refer them to, that team is committed to proactively giving them information to helping them achieve wealth long term. That's the commitment that client can expect. And you can say, look, anyone can give you a mortgage. It's not that hard. But what we're going to do up to the point where you get your offer accepted, hopefully you can see a ton of value in that before. During will be great, I promise, but it's just not that important. But if you thought we were helpful for the last 30 days, you're going to be blown away with what we do for you and your family for the next 30 years. That type of commitment is something that nobody has, or very few people have, right? Only maybe the top 5% of wealth generators have that type of that team or that person in their life. So what is that? That's doing annual financial reviews, doing post-closing calls, it's doing a perfect mortgage promise. Now, look, all these things are easy to say, but hard to do. And I can tell you that because I used to have these on my calendar every week. Call your past clients, do past client follow-up, add value to your database. And I could just never get to it, right? Because I was always focused on generating more business, biz dev, my pipeline, my clients, because I could see real results. And especially now it's hard to really be focused on your clients because not a lot of them are going to move. They have low rates. They don't need refinances. So I'm not saying don't do this. What I'm saying is ask yourself, who's the best person to do it? So what we did is we created an entire team of people and we call them client success managers. And these client success managers are trained on financial literacy, on a holistic personal wealth, on real estate, on taxes, on all the right things to know. So they do our post-closing calls. They say, hey, this is James. I'm calling on behalf of Ryan Grant's team. I'm going to be your client success manager. I'm going to help you with anything first payment related, servicing transfers, escrow challenges throughout the process. If you ever call your servicer, they're just going to treat you like a number. You're going to call some 800 number. You're going to wait on hold. They're not going to know who you are. They're not going to know what your goals are. So make me your point of contact for anything mortgage related after closing as a part of Ryan's team. Right. And here's what you can expect from us. Right? Here's the technology you're going to use. Here's the calls we're going to have. Here's the goal planning sessions we're going to have. All these things are going to be a part of it because they are paid to do that. Right? Like that team executes on the commitment that I get to make because I can't really in good conscience make that commitment knowing that I likely won't execute on most of it. If you can create a client success manager on your team, awesome. If you need to pool up with other people in your group and hire one that serves everybody, great. If you need to go to your company and tell them that they need to create a client success manager department, go do that. But If we keep selling the same product, which is a mortgage hard stop, the end, then we better be prepared to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and make less and less and less because we're going to get commoditized. It's how we execute on the long-term commitment that really matters. So some of this stuff that we are going to commit to is say, hey, look, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, are you 100% confident that you're going to be able to maximize your tax benefits year in and year out as your life changes and as you are buying and selling real estate and understanding investment properties? No, we don't know how to do that. Okay, great. No big deal. That's our responsibility. We're going to take that off your plate. Oh, wow. Okay, great. Thanks. What about your perfect mortgage promise? Are you always going to know when it's the right time to refinance? Like not just the right time, but the right hour of the right day. And then show them the MBS highway chart. Like, this is what rates are doing. Are you going to know exactly when to time that? No. Are you going to know when to access equity in your property for any reason? No. Are you going to know when it might be time to sell or move up or down or out of the area, right? Or making sure that you're in the right term? No. Okay, well, good thing is that most people, that is on them, right? When you are a client of our team, that is our responsibility. Right? So we are going to commit that you're always going to be in the right home and the right loan at the right time because we are going to actively manage your largest liability for you, like proactively, not reactively. If you ever have to call us and say, hey, I want to refi, I'm going to have to pull a stake out of my heart because that means that I haven't done my job. And we should be so proactively engaged with you and your family that we help you decide when it's time to buy, sell, finance, or adjust your mortgage in any way, right? And that's our commitment to you. Wow, never heard that before. Okay, great, thanks. Next is going to be planning retirement through real estate, right? Are you going to understand how to pass these properties to your children, how to, understand retirement, maybe potentially reverse mortgage planning, how to maximize your opportunity with continual real estate advancement from now until retirement, how to deal with your parents' real estate or lack thereof, and your children's. They're going to say no. Okay, no problem. That's why we're here, right? That's why our clients choose us, because this mortgage is literally just step one of an infinite number of steps. But that's what we're going to commit to you and your family. What about generational wealth planning with parents and kids, estate planning, wills and trusts, understanding what to do as people pass or kids are born, or college planning, any of that stuff? Not really. Great, we got you. What about future real estate goals? Right? I know that you're buying this as your first home, but if we have a form we call our dreams and goals call, one of the first questions we ask is, obviously we know you want to buy this home, but what are your future real estate goals? And more often than not, people will say, I haven't really thought much about it. And then we get to say, you know what? That's not terrible, because with us, we're going to help you do that. And we are not just going to hope you get where you can go. We are going to grab your hand and take you where we know you can go. Like, what a bold commitment to make to somebody, right? Is that when you look back 20, 30 years from now, you will definitively say that you have a higher level of wealth and more real estate and more assets because of our team and our real estate and lending team. Okay, great. Estate planning, wills, and trusts kind of goes along with generational planning with parents and kids. Proper protection in all areas of insurance. All right, think about that. Think about how challenging insurance is just on real estate alone, right? How much premiums have gone up. But then there's life insurance, right? There's disability insurance, there's umbrella insurance, right? There's mortgage protection insurance. A lot of you know my story. I have a client, her husband passed away. They had to sell the house because they didn't have life insurance. I tell that story because I want that to resonate with people and let them know we're not going to let that happen to you and your family. How many other mortgage professionals are having that conversation? Right? So this is all proactive. This is not reactive. If anyone calls you and says any of these things, we're failing. And even worse, if they don't call you, but they're looking for these things, that's an even bigger failure. And this is really where the majority of our value to our clients lies. So let's get into what this translates to. This translates to a level of confidence that you likely didn't have before. You are literally committing to something that your clients are not going to get anywhere else. Other people either cannot say it or they will not say it. Right? And that confidence extends to your realtor partnerships, your referral partnerships, the companies and organizations that work with you, the leadership of your team. You're going to stand taller, right? And it's an inspirational feeling. You are going to get out of bed inspired to go change an industry and go tell this story to as many people that can possibly hear it. Because no one expects this from their, loan officer. And I hate using that term, but that's how people know us, unfortunately. You will be a mortgage advisor who is changing people's lives. And that is an inspiring thing. And when you are inspired, you do some amazing things. So let's talk about referral partner acquisition here for a second. This is something that has become a problem in the mortgage profession, is that, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but 74% of real estate professionals did not help one family in 2024. So if you're talking to 10 real estate agents, 7.5 of them can't really help you. They're not going to add really any value to your clients. So we need to understand we have to be working with the best and brightest agents in our marketplace. And 92%, I think 92% of the business is only done by 10% of the top realtors. So that means that we really only are looking for 1 out of 10. But then the question is, how do we get that 1 out of 10? Because everybody's going after that 1 out of 10. And they're likely have some sort of mortgage arrangement or setup or collaborative marketing spend or MSA or joint venture, or they have their hand in mortgage somehow. Right? I know this. I talk to the largest real estate agents in the country almost on a weekly basis. So what you're going to be able to do, like your introductory call to them, will help them with a value proposition that they need. So if you're at a networking event, if you're at a mixer, if you're at a happy hour, and someone says, why you? You can say, oh, well, when we work with our real estate partners, they get to offer something to their clients that nobody else gets to offer. What's that? They essentially get to sell a more valuable product. And this is the script, which is, if I'm you, Mr. Realtor, I'd say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I think paying someone 3% for 30 to 60 days worth of help buying a home is probably inappropriate. Now, we've gotten away with it as an industry for decades just because it was commonplace, but I want you to know that you shouldn't pay that. But the 3% you're going to pay our team is not for 30 to 60 days. It's for 30 years. And then they get to go through before, during, and after the same exact way you did. So they actually have a value proposition that differentiates them, which is an incredible first introductory to like, oh, okay. And then your initial realtor partner presentation, which is something that we have a whole training on, will help you, like it will blow their mind in the best ways possible. And then you get a second meeting with them, which is your business partnership conversion meeting, right? Your partnership planning meeting. And that locks in that partnership, right? Where it's not just a relationship. It's not just, I hope they refer me business. Now, as we go through the rest of this webinar series, the other parts of this webinar series, your economic participation, your lead generation, and your tech and scalability are all going to be massive parts of what your value to real estate agents is, to builders, which is an incredible opportunity that we have, to financial planners and CPAs. So this is only one part of the value you would give to your partners and referral partners. Definitely make sure to come to the other webinars because we'll touch on those as well. Another part is other parties, financial planners, CPAs, financial advisors, like they will have never heard about this and it will elevate their business as well. And it's just almost a layup, right? Like I have a standing bet with our team that if they go present this to a real estate attorney, to a CPA, to a financial planner, if they don't land that partnership, I'll give them $100. And I have yet to have to pay that, right? And it's just because we're offering something that is very unique and different. Consistency, something that is hard in our business. Sometimes we go in waves. We'll have a great month and then slow month. We'll have a great quarter and then a slow quarter. We'll have a great year and then a slow year. The consistency with this will be just a constant up to the right. You're just constantly growing. You have knowledge of where your business is coming from. You can almost set your watch by the number of leads you're going to generate each month, right? And that level of consistency is incredibly helpful because you're not going to loan deals to price. You're not going to slow down momentum. You're not going to have resentment from your team when, oh, I lost another deal. Wow, we worked on that for a month, right? And now we can't close it. That level of consistency is hard. You want consistency that you can depend on. And then team growth, right? You get to do some incredible things as you're growing this. I was fortunate to have people come to me. Like I never recruited. It's just people came to me and said, I see what you're doing. I want to be a part of it. Awesome. Right. And then branches and then bigger groups. You're going to attract people who need your leadership and who need your help because you're executing on something that's really difficult for other people to execute on. And lastly, and I think a lot of people sleep on this, this is probably an underestimated one, is fulfillment. I can tell you that from a guy who was, $80,000 in debt, $400,000 underwater on my house. They took my car away from me. This was all 2008, 2009. I couldn't pay for my car, so they repoed it. I've been that guy. And I've also been the guy who made multiple 7 figures in a year. It's not the money. It might feel like it when you really need it, but it's not. One of my biggest earning years was the year I thought about leaving the industry. The fulfillment of doing this work, of helping other people, right? Of helping your business partners be different, of infusing life and energy into an industry that is lacking it. That is incredibly fulfilling. And that is what keeps you going. Right? That's what keeps reigniting the inspiration. Right? It's the fulfillment you get from looking back and saying, the Smiths are going to be like, their grandchildren may not have to work if I do my job. If I can help educate them and get them on the right path, we're going to, make millionaires of their grandchildren. That's a pretty fulfilling statement. It's very different than I put the Smiths in debt and I hope they figure out the rest of their life. Right? We have that ability. Right? Our industry has that opportunity, but it can't come out of nowhere. It takes all 5 of these webinars, like executing at a high level in all 5 of these areas of optimization. All right. So what do you do with this information? In our 10 minutes left, you first want to start changing the client conversations. So start telling your clients you're going to make a higher level commitment to them, right? And this will create higher level conversion at a higher margin. You won't have to compete on price as much anymore. And this is going to lead into next month's webinar on the economics of a mortgage, because you'll realize how much revenue is in a mortgage, both on the front side and when the loan is sold. And you'll realize how you participate in that and what that means for the future of your business. So you'll understand when it makes sense to take a concession, where you should appropriately price, where you need to reinvest back in marketing and scale and growth. That's going to be a big part of this, but it all starts with, can you get clients to say yes to you and not shop you against the lowest rate? Because I've seen an epidemic of people running to say, I need to get cheaper. I'm only make 150 basis points all in. I'm with a broker and they take $500 and I make 150 and I make one. There's just no scale there. It's not about what you keep. It's about the entirety of what you make. And that allows you to continue to grow. So you'll see that this value proposition enhances your economics, and then everything is possible from there. The next thing you want to do when you start seeing more conversion, you start seeing clients say yes more, is then you want to start going to tell your agents about this, your referral partners, your builders, about this new value proposition. We have a builder partner that we're just starting to work with now that is one of their things is they want to be the most valuable builder in their market. And I was like, what an amazing alignment, right? And this is what we do. And they were just blown away. But agents need it. CPAs need it. Financial planners need it. And then after the rest of this webinar series, you can go back to them and say, geez, let me talk to you about lead generation now. Let me tell you about how we can help you participate in some of the economics as a partner of ours. Let me talk to you about how we can scale this business together through technology and the right processes. That is a full game changer. Like every other lender out there is talking about speed and customer service and answer the phone 24/7 and I'll do whatever it takes and blah, blah, blah. No one actually gives a shit about that. They want to know, how do I get more business? How can I be more valuable? How do I not have to compete over commissions with, low commission agents? How can I scale my business? Like they want to work for tomorrow too. So then after all that, then it's just scale, right? It's scaling and evolution. You'll start to grow a team. You'll start to get into leadership. You'll start to lead more people. You'll start to grow a branch. You'll start to grow a division. You'll start to grow a region. You'll start to grow a company, because that's what we should do. That's our potential. It might take 10 years for me. I'm on a 14-year journey and I'm still going to scale and I'm still going to evolve, but only because I know these 5 things so well. So next steps. In order to, and first of all, thank you guys for hanging out this whole time. How do you get this presentation deck and recording? If you're not already, follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram. Just type in Ryan Grant, you'll find me. It's at the real Ryan Grant. You can see it on most of this deck. And LinkedIn, it's just Ryan Grant, Neo Home Loans. If you're not already following me, do that. And then just send me a message, right? Just give me your thoughts on this thing. Give me your feedback. If it was helpful, if there's something that we could have done better. We want to make these webinars better and better for the remainder of them. And then we'll immediately turn around. We'll send you the recording. We'll send you the deck so you have all of it. And that's how you're going to get the deck and the recording. Just make sure you're following me. Send me a quick message. It could be, hey, that was awesome. Thank you. It doesn't need to be super in depth. The more in depth it is, the better. I would appreciate it, because we just want to make sure we're adding more value. So that's how you're going to get the deck and the recording. Next is the giveaway. So a lot of times these things can be a little overwhelming. There's a lot of information and it's difficult to ingest it all. If you tag me in a post, right, LinkedIn or Instagram, let's not do a Facebook because it's just not working well. Just say, hey, just got off a webinar with Ryan. What was your biggest takeaway from the webinar? I will message you, you'll get a link, and we'll spend 30 minutes one-on-one, and we can either do a analysis of your business, just a full analysis top to bottom, or we can do like a role play session. If you're struggling with client conversion, with how to open with a realtor, with your realtor presentations, your business partnership with your realtors, builders, whatever it is that you need, we'll do a one-on-one session there. We'll record that and I'll send it to you as well. The purpose of you doing this, just selfishly, is that I want to get the word out about this webinar series to more people, right? I want more people in the mortgage industry to know if they solve these 5 things, there's nothing stopping them from having the best 20 years of their life. Not just the most profitable 20 years, but the best work-life balance, the best scalability, the best fulfillment, the best inspiration. And I think more people need to know about it, right? And so if you guys are doing that, if you're tagging me and, I can invite more people to the webinars moving forward, that would just be a benefit because we can make a larger impact. So if you want that 30-minute one-on-one, again, LinkedIn, Instagram, tag me in a post, and you'll get a link to schedule that 30 minutes with me. What's next in the webinar series? Important you guys know what's coming up. Hopefully these are on your calendar. If they are not, please put them there. April 17th, we're going to go over the real economics of the mortgage industry. And I promise you, this is fascinating. I didn't know this stuff until a few years ago. I thought I knew it. I thought I knew how all of the sausage was made, but I didn't. And it was challenging because there was no way I could be confident in my price if I didn't confidently know how the economics worked. I'm not going to say that you need to make 100% of the economics of a mortgage. That would be inappropriate. All I'm going to do is help you figure out, are you confident in your participation in the economics? Right? Are you confident in the transparency or lack thereof? Are you understanding of why price exceptions make sense, of EPOs, all those things that we are not really sure of? That's going to be an important part. So hopefully you guys can join me on that. May 15th, we're going to go over the 8 pillars of lead generation. I think we can lead generate a lot better. I think I'll rephrase that. We must lead generate a lot better. We cannot rely on other people to refer us business, and we cannot rely strictly on our databases. We have to go get to the client first, and there's an interesting component to that I think will be helpful. June 19th, we're going to go over the coming wave of technology and what to expect. I can tell you firsthand, 6 months ago, I had no idea what was happening in the behind the scenes of the mortgage technology world, and I am fascinated by it today. I believe that it will help mortgage professionals help 50 to 100 families a month with more advice and more personalization. And I believe that 90 to 95% of what we do today and what our team does today will not exist as little as 6 months from now. So that's going to be an important one so you can understand scalability. And then lastly, July 17th is going to be power of community. Really tough to do this on your own. It's tough to do this on an island. It's tough to do this without other people around you. We'll talk about the power of your community and what that means and how to impact it. So I'll leave you with this. Again, think about the 8-year-old version of yourself. And then now think, you're looking up at who you are today. Now I want to think about the 90-year-old version of yourself, right? The 90-year-old version of yourself is going to look back and they're going to say, how proud am I of what I accomplished? Those of you guys don't know this, the guy who invented dynamite, or one of the richest men in the world, he lived in Europe. He was known as the angel of death, but the proprietor of death, something along those lines. And he realized when he was getting older that he didn't want to be known for death and destruction when he died. The same way that I didn't want to be known as one of the best debt salesmen in the industry. So what he did is he created a philanthropic event. He created a community where he was able to raise money. And then he started essentially giving back to people who were doing amazing things in life. That person is Alfred Nobel. You know him as the curator of the Nobel Prize. He's somebody who changed what he was known for. That's what we can do. We don't need to be known as people who give loans when people want them or need them, right? And I believe that we should be known for something different. So think about what you want to be remembered for, right? Think about the legacy you're going to leave. Think about the opportunity that we have to do that now, right? And let's lean into this. So thank you guys for your time. I want to be cognizant that we're ending on time here. For anybody who put anything in, Q&A, I'll try and do a follow-up. If you message me on social media, I'll take a snapshot of this Q&A and I'll try and answer your questions there. But hopefully we'll see you on the upcoming webinars. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for helping us change this industry for the better. And we'll look forward to seeing y'all soon. Thanks, y'all.